Ladies and gentlemen, you may be seated. On behalf of the Department of Sports, Arts and Culture, I welcome you to the Robben Island ex-political reunion. My name is Unati, and as culture dictates, I have to introduce myself properly so that you know that I come with love, I come with honor, and that I am not an enemy, as our sailors across the continent, as our travelers did, as they passed from village to village and town to town and country to country, they would announce who they are so that the villagers know that we come with love. Dungdana kwankai, ndungumamthunzi, uwompa upepepe, uqabele wenu injayifanga ihleli, unyukwana, umthwakazi, untibane. Ndizalwa ngumamntandi madla umsophitsha ungqolomsila uyemyem uvela bamthi kwaye nam ndizela bam ababini abakwalanga obhele odlamini ojamasjadu andimanga ndedwa ke namhlanje ndine-co-host sami ezimbini uLizeka Sasli nosisi wakhe uNathi Sasli. Namhlanje is a very important day, and it is our deepest honor to be here as we celebrate the 30th anniversary of the last reunion here on Robben Island. Blessed are we to walk this earth while you are still alive. Can we please give our ex-political prisoners the most sincerest round of applause? The deepest honor to have traveled from the mainland with you onto this incredible island. This island that symbolizes so much for us as a people, that symbolizes who we are today, but we cannot be who we are today without recognizing and honoring you. The first reunion was held in 1995 with over 4,000 prisoners. Today, as history dictates, time goes on. Life evolves, and we have lost some of our heroes, but we stand on the shoulder of giants with over 600 of them still alive. Once again, can we take a moment to honor these incredible men and one woman who was on this island? Sibulela ubukho sibulela inhliziyo zenu, sibulela imisebenzi yenu. Can we please give them a round of applause? A warm welcome this morning to Prof. Satha Sivan Cooper, Chairperson of Robben Island Museum Council. Warm welcome goes to Meneer Gerald Fries, Executive Director, Department of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sport and Culture. Honorable Sanet Steenkamp, Namibian Minister of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sport, Arts and Culture. Dr. Cynthia Kumalo, Director General, Department of Sports, Arts and Culture. Honorable Minister Gayton McKenzie, you shall not resign, sir, please. I'm sorry, I had to push that one in. A warm welcome to Chairperson of the AEPP, Mr. Lulamile Kate. And to all of you here today. As we said, today is a moment in history. 30 years ago, our former president, may his soul rest in peace, decided to honor those who physically compromised their lives for us. The families that they left for us, the friends, the futures that they sacrificed for us. And this is why we are back here 30 years later to pay tribute to these incredible people. Help me welcome on stage for our welcoming remarks, Professor Satha Sivan Cooper, Chairperson of Robben Island Museum Council. Before we allow our chairperson on stage, please may we all be upstanding for our national anthem.
ons eeuwige gebergtes, waar de kruisend vormgeef. Sounds the call to come together and rise in music. Lift us
Ladies and gentlemen, you may please be seated. It takes a certain amount of confidence for an entire arena to erupt with laughter when a gentle soul, by mistake, says, "Viva the United States of," and all of us were like, ah, 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 ah. Welcome to Southern Africa. This is what we want to say. Welcome to our beautiful United States of Africa. Yes! Ladies and gentlemen, our chairman can't be with us this morning because he's feeling a little ill. And on behalf of the council, I'd like to ask Dr. Nolita Vuguza to come and welcome you all on behalf of the council here on Robben Island.
Why does the song stop?
What shall we do? What shall we do? Oh, Toddy. What shall we do? What shall we do?
Thank you very much. I had to start with a dance because our minister is a minister of happiness. And you can feel the vibe. When we came here, it was full of anticipation. And it's a wonderful, wonderful morning. I am so emotional about today on behalf of the council. I would like to welcome, Minister, this is your stage, but allow me to welcome you as a council of Robben Island. I see our dignitaries here, Sisi, and our guests from Namibia, and our guests of honor, the ex-political prisoners, and all our dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, each and every one of you is so important to make this occasion what it is. And so it is with profound humility and great respect that I welcome you this morning to address you, men and some women who sacrificed the prime of your lives and you endured isolation and hardship on this island. It is to stand here and to acknowledge you today. I'm not making a speech, but as a council member, I would like to say, Minister, this has long been coming, and thank you for making it happen. Your reunion is more than just a gathering. It is a living testimony that courage can outlast cruelty, that conviction can survive even the harshest confinement. I was standing in one of the cells with one of my colleagues and friends, and he said, I slept here. You carried us on your shoulders. And in your silence, you spoke louder than the oppressors. In your isolation, and we saw this morning, you built bonds of solidarity that can never be broken. And in your release, you opened the gates of the possibilities for the generations to come. Today, we honor your sacrifices. We also commit to never forget the cost of democracy as you endured it. You set the scene for us. We are this and that because of you. Today, we call ourselves a free nation, and most of it goes to those who were here. So on behalf of the council, I salute each and every one of the ex-political prisoners here. May this reunion remind us all that freedom, justice, and humanity must always be guarded with the same vigilance with which you sat here and you dreamt of. So with those few words, I welcome everyone. Enjoy the day, and thank you for being here.
As Doctor mentioned, today we're here to celebrate the resilience of the human spirit. We're here to celebrate an imagination that we had and we thought it would never be a reality. She had a dream and she penned it down 30 years ago. And it didn't just end there. In her dream, she decided to share this dream with the world. In 1995, she told us that all she wants is for our hearts to beat just as one. She told us that the silence is the confusion, but as Doc said, the silence was very powerful. 30 years ago, she said, through it all, we would sing in unison and in harmony. And that was in 1995 that she told us about her African dream. We didn't realize that this dream would come with many other dreams. We would host the World Cup, and she would sing this song again for the nation to be proud and for the world to know where we come from as a people. She would sing the song as we opened the Basadian Music Awards on SABC 2, celebrating 30 years then. Our hero, our soldier, our sonic angel. Ladies and gentlemen, please put your hands together for the iconic Vicky Samsa.
I love you too. Good afternoon, Maweni, Sanibonani. My deepest respect and gratitude to God for 30 years of the African dream. God bless you all. I am honored and so proud to stand here today. Thank you. distant crime, the darkness multiplied, and weary hearts denied. All I feel is my heart beats, beating like a drum, filled with confusion. And all I hear are the voices telling me to go. But I will never forget my freedom. God bless you. Thank you so much. I think I have one more song for you. Thank you. I'm going to just do it now while I'm in that spirit. It's a song that was also written for me by Alan Lazar, who gave us the African dream. This is the song that is connected with me because this is about our nation, our Africa, one tribe under heaven. That's what we are. God bless you and thank you.
God bless your heart. God bless your spirit. September symbolizes so many things for us on the African continent. Yes, it does bring in spring, which is newness. It is indeed the month where we herald ourselves the most in our regalia as we celebrate Heritage Month. But as we celebrate we are one under one heaven, it also symbolizes the African New Year. Happy New Year to all of you. As our dignitaries arrive, allow us to please welcome and take a moment to acknowledge them. A warm welcome to Deputy Mayor of Cape Town, Aid Eddie Andrews, former Deputy President and former Speaker of the National Assembly, Her Excellency Mambaleka Mbete, Minister of Land Reform and Rural Development, Mzwandile Nyotso, Deputy Minister of Defense and Military, Veteran Richard Mkongo, MEC Ricardo McKenzie, MEC of Cultural Affairs in the Western Cape. Lulamile Tlate, Chairperson of Association of Ex-Political Prisoners. Honorary Sarah Kungongelwa Amadila, Speaker of the National Assembly of Namibia. Honorable Sanet Steenkamp, Minister of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture. Mr. Gerald Vries, Executive Director. Ms. Pinofina Aces, Director. Erica Ndaliko Kule, Director of National Heritage Council, and Lavinia Carices, Finance Director. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome on stage Executive Director, Mr. Gerald Vries.
What shall we do?
What shall we do?
Distinguished audience, visionaries, brains trust, doers, post-conventional thinkers, leadership of South Africa and Namibia and the world at large. Allow me the singular honor of introducing Honorable Minister Sanet Steenkamp. Honorable Minister Sanet Steenkamp is a member of Parliament and a seasoned public servant, educator and transformational leader with more than 3 decades of dedicated service in Namibia's education sector. Appointed as Minister of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sports, Arts and Culture on 22nd of March 2025, she is leading a bold and ambitious reform agenda aimed at building a more inclusive, responsive, and future-ready Namibian society. She brings with her a rich blend of grassroots experience, high-level policy insight, and an unwavering commitment to public service and nation building. From humble beginnings, Minister Steenkamp began her professional journey as an unqualified teacher in a rural school, eventually rising through the ranks to become a senior school counselor, regional director of education, and later the executive director of the Ministry of Education, Arts and Culture, a post she had held from 2015 until her ministerial appointment in 2025. Her background is rooted in advocacy for inclusive education, youth empowerment, and social equity. Through her leadership, she has impacted thousands of learners and educators, particularly in underserved regions, and played a pivotal role in HIV and AIDS education, reproductive health, and special needs supports programs. As Minister, she has taken a forward-looking approach prioritizing innovation, technical vocational training, the formalization of early childhood education in the education sector, and leveraging arts, culture, and sports for sustainable development and job creation. A professional ethos is built on the principles of integrity, servant leadership, and inclusivity. She has an exceptional ability to create meaningful networks across government, social society, and international partners. Having represented Namibia on global stages, including co-leading global education dialogues such as the 2022 United Nations Transforming Education Summit. Academically, Minister Steenkamp holds a master's degree in educational leadership management from Rhodes University and several postgraduate qualifications in education, finance, leadership, and policy from Wits University and Stellenbosch University. She will graduate in this October 2025 with her PhD at Rhodes University in South Africa. Throughout her career, Minister Steenkamp has served on various national boards and councils, including as chairperson of the Namibian Examination Assessment and Certification Board, and as a board member of the National Arts Council and the Franco-Namibian Cultural Center. Her work is driven by deep love for Namibia and its people, especially the youth in whom she sees the promise of a better, more equitable future. Ms. Steenkamp continues to be a beacon of hope and voice of progress, combining policy depth, lived experience, and human-centered leadership to reshape Namibia's social and development landscape. I introduce to you Honorable Sanet Steenkamp.
Esteemed ladies and gentlemen, still good morning, a lovely and a warm good morning to you all. I wish to recognize the Director of Ceremonies and the Honorable Gayton McKenzie, Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture of the Republic of South Africa. Thank you for your warmth, your love and your hospitality, and for hosting all Namibians and everyone today. You don't know the indelible mark that you've made and imprinted on the hearts of so many people. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, all esteemed honorable ministers, deputy ministers, former speaker, ma'am, we are delighted to be in your presence. I also wish to acknowledge the Honorable Sarah Kukongelwa Amadila, the Speaker for the National Assembly of the Republic of Namibia, all distinguished ex-political prisoners and heroes of the liberation struggle from across South Africa, Namibia. Can I see some flags? Yes, how beautiful, how beautiful. All representatives from various departments and every single person who are sitting here, you are highly valued. And for one moment, Honorable McKenzie, I just want to create a quick sense of disorder for the sake of unity and love. Can you kindly turn to the person on your left and just say, I acknowledge you. Can I acknowledge you? Thank you. I just want some water also. Yeah, to your right as well. Did everybody get a sense of acknowledgement? Did we? Beautiful, beautiful. I almost did not recognize the person that was introduced to you. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm a servant of the people, and I'm here to be with all of you. And therefore, it is with such a deep sense of humility and honor and respect that I stand before you today on this historic and very powerful occasion of a reunion of Robben Island ex-political prisoners of South Africa and Namibia, and on behalf of Her Excellency, the President of the Republic of Namibia, Dr. Netumbo Nandi Ndaitwah, I warmly convey the greetings and the heartfelt solidarity to all of you present on this momentous occasion. You will agree with me that we are not just here to remember, but actually to affirm the very living history of our two nations, a history not always written in comfort and safety, in unity, but that were forged in the trial of tribulation and struggle, sacrifice, but also beautiful, unyielding courage. Robben Island was more than just a prison and a place of punishment. For many and those who were there, it became a school of resilience, perseverance, a sanctuary of principles and hope for the oppressed peoples across southern Africa. And the brave man and the one woman whom our Honorable McKenzie will talk about, who endured it walls, carried not only the pain of imprisonment, but for them, they also became the hope and the aspirations of millions who longed for freedom, nationhood, and national identity. From South Africa's leaders such as Nelson Mandela, Walter Sisulu, and Govan Mbeki, to Namibia's gallant sons such as Andimba Toivo, Robben Island was home to those who sacrifice over submission, principle over privilege, and freedom over fear. It was Andimba Toivo, whose family is also represented here today by his widow and the children and extended family members, and he will be remembered for saying with unyielding defiance, declaring to the apartheid authorities, "We are Namibians and not South Africans. We do not now and will not in future recognize your right to govern us, to make laws for us in which we have no say, and to treat our country as if it were your property." Ladies and gentlemen, and years later, here we are, getting together because this platform of reunion was granted to us to continue on the path of healing as a people. Free and affirming as we are sitting that the struggle was not just against oppression, but for the dignity of national identity, for the love and the justice and the peace we heard the entertainers this morning imprinting on our hearts. Today, as Namibia, as your guests, as your brothers and as your sisters, we are deeply honored to be in the presence of all living bearers of this history. The Namibian sons who endured Robben Island. If you allow me, Honorable McKenzie, I would like to single them out. Mr. Martin Kapewasha, if I mention your name, with all my due respect, may I kindly ask you to give us an indication where you are, and for those who are able to rise, to do so. Mr. Martin Kapewasha. Thank you, sir. Mr. Zakaria Nashandi. Mr. Naboth Imene. Hallo, dankie unene tate. Mr. Ulenga Benjamin Ulenga. Our respect, my elders, our respect. Mr. Willem Biva. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have many present and others represented. I will continue. Mr. Ristu Nakanyala. Ja, lot dankie tate. Jeremias Ikanjo, Mr. Jeremias Ikanjo. Thank you, Mr. Ikanjo. Like I said, we also have representative because of their frail state. Mr. Helau Shituwete, represented, very well represented. Mr. Jacob Nidinwa, yeah. Mr. Bethwell Uyonga, and ladies and gentlemen, their spouses, their families, and all those others whose contributions remained etched in our collective memory. We wish to state that your lives remain a living testimony of grit and sacrifice, and we salute you today unreservedly, these gallant sons and daughter who stood out and stood tall when it was neither popular nor safe to do so, when people accepted you not as a person, when speaking out meant imprisonment and persecution or even death. You all chose principle over fear because you believe in what was just. And that moral courage must never be taken for granted, and our children must take some key lessons from here, because that's the foundation upon which our freedom rests. Ladies and gentlemen, as Namibians, we hold eternal gratitude for the solidarity shared by the people of South Africa during the struggle against apartheid and colonialism. We said earlier that Robben Island stands both as a painful reminder of oppression, but also a powerful symbol of resilience, of a shared heritage of courage, solidarity, and unwavering commitment to justice. As we gather here in the spirit of unity, we pay tribute to our esteemed ex-political prisoners for your suffering that you've gone through, the loss of family life, the loss of building memories with your loved ones. You remain with an unbroken will and ideal for which you stood, the freedom, the equality, all fighting against inequities for dignity and, most importantly, humanity. And these ideals must continue to guide us as we confront the contemporary challenges of inequalities and injustice and brokenness and dysfunction within our communities. We are the voices and the champions and the pilgrims of hope as we are sitting here, each one of us carrying with us the seeds of humanity. Let's spread the love. As Minister entrusted with education, innovation, youth, sports, arts, and culture, I reaffirm our solemn responsibility to keep alive the memory of your struggle. We must ensure that our schools teach it, that our cultural institutions preserve it, our archives have your letters, our archives have your documents, that your voice as it comes through and the voices of your loved ones and those who supported you, that it will be captured forever and accessible for everyone so that our youth can draw inspiration from it. The sports, the traditional worship songs, the songs that you sing, and the creativity that sustained you in prison must now continue to bring hope and unite and uplift our people. Moreover, your role in guiding present and future generations, esteemed ladies and gentlemen, that is vital. Your voices remind us that freedom comes with responsibility and that nothing can be taken for granted. Esteemed ministers, deputy ministers, members of parliament, members of diplomatic corps, ladies and gentlemen, the media, this is not just about remembrance of the past. I believe it is a call, as we heard, to present the African dream, to make it work, to bring actions to that, a call for the present and the future. On behalf of the government and the people of Namibia, I convey our deepest gratitude, respect, and admiration to the Robben Island veterans and their families. Thank you for all of those who come from afar and wide, who traveled. You are here because you wanted to be here, and we value that immensely. Equally, our Honorable Speaker, thank you for joining us. Honorable McKenzie, it is my fervent wish that this reunion that you and your team worked so hard on will renew our collective resolve to safeguard freedom and advance the just and united societies that we both, along with our governments, envisage. Allow me, therefore, as I conclude, ladies and gentlemen, to extend a special word of appreciation to you, Honorable Gayton McKenzie. When you visited Namibia, Namibia was on fire. Yeah? Why? Because of your sincerity and your warmth. When you visited Namibia, we had discussions, and today those discussions translated into tangible, beautiful moments and actions, and here we are. It's through your leadership, sir, through your leadership and the unwavering support of your government that we have this moment of remembrance and reunion. Your commitment to preserving history, uplifting the voices of the former political prisoners, and fostering unity between our nations stands as evidence to the enduring solidarity that has always bound Namibia and South Africa together. We do not take light the effort, the vision, and the diplomacy required to bring us together on this historic ground. Namibia salutes your government and thank you personally, Honorable Minister, for ensuring that the legacy of those who sacrificed for freedom will never be forgotten, but will instead inspire generations to come. Finally, it's my last conclusion. Can we give him a round of applause, ladies and gentlemen? As you know, the Excellencies are far away in New York with the United Nations General Assembly, and while they our Excellency, Dr. Netumbo Nandi-Ndaitwah, had a special word to Namibians, and I want to leave everyone with this. Together, let us shape the Namibia we imagine, a Namibia united in purpose, bound by heritage, and driven by hope. May you know as a people that we value your commitment to identity and to your homeland, the land of the brave, Namibia. With one heart and with one mind we serve. I thank you.
Ground where much was changed. As we heard from our very passionate presentation from Minister Steenkamp, many nations united to ensure that today we stand here. 30 years after the first reunion, and this is the first phase that Minister McKenzie has decided to celebrate Robben Island. We're celebrating the resilience of the people who are imprisoned here. We're celebrating the triumph of the human spirit through adversity. We're also celebrating the cheekiness and the education that the prisoners also imparted on some of the Robben Island staff. Coming from the mainland on the boat, I was with some of the political prisoners. A man called Utadu Jolobe, shedding so many stories about the many, many years that our living prisoners spent. There were times where the wardens acknowledged the level of education that a lot of our ex-political prisoners had. And at times the prison warders would say, hey, you've been working here for 10 years, surely you should ask for a raise now. Speaking of the caliber of prisoners who were here, the caliber of men who were here who gave their lives, the caliber of men who ensured that today we would have the freedom and the power that we do, as this United Nations of Africa that we are. As our minister says, yes, Tata, thank you. We see you and thank you for your contribution. I'd like to ask our Director General of Department of Sports, Arts and Culture to come up on stage, Dr. Cynthia Khumalo.
Thank you very much, Program Director, Honorable Minister McKenzie, or let me say Honorable Minister Gayton McKenzie, because I know there are other ministers that are called Mackenzies where we are, so let me be specific. Honorable Minister Steenkamp, the Speaker in the National Government of Namibia, former President, Deputy President May Baleka Nete, Minister Nyoto, Deputy Minister Mkungo, the board of Robben Island Museum. Allow me to also recognize my colleague who's here, Advocate Maluleka, who is the DG of Women, Youth and Persons with Disabilities. And I then stand on the protocol that has already been observed. Ladies and gentlemen, we thought in introducing Minister McKenzie, we would approach it differently. We know that his credentials are well known. He is serving in the Parliament of South Africa as a member of Parliament. He has served also at the level of the municipality, including being a mayor. He is a president of his own party called the Patriotic Alliance. However, instead of focusing on him, in introducing him and allowing him to come up and address us, we thought we'll talk about what transpired on the day that he was approached by the Association of the Ex-Political Prisoners. A few months ago, Minister McKenzie was approached by 2 or 3 representatives from the association who shared with him their proposal. Mr. McKenzie listened, and as usual, and as in keeping with how Minister McKenzie is, he turned the whole thing around to what you see today. And what is it that informed that? I am sure that when he comes and addresses you, he will impart even more than what we are going to mention. What informed Minister McKenzie in listening to the representatives from the association was a recognition of the importance of this place where we are. The recognition of this place having served as a prison, a hospital for those socially unacceptable, and a military base. It was in recognition of this place being a symbol of the struggle, a maximum security prison where those fighting against racial segregation and oppression were imprisoned. Minister McKenzie listened and said, even before those 2 gentlemen or 3 gentlemen left the room, I've got you. I understand what you want. We are doing this. So what further informed him was the recognition of the icon Nelson Mandela, who went on to become the first democratically elected president of South Africa. Those of us that were born in the 1960s, 70s, 80s, you can put me somewhere there. We came to know that Nelson Mandela was incarcerated here for close to 18 of the 27 years of his imprisonment. Minister McKenzie recognized the fact that this place became a university of the struggle. That despite harsh conditions, prisoners in Robben Island that we are rubbing shoulders with here today developed a sense of community and used the time for political debate, education, and sports, creating a symbolic space for the different anti-apartheid movements. The songs like Miriam Makeba's Bahleli Bonke, angikwazi ukucula, Ehetilongwen, Anongongo, Ngiyasiza ukuba khona ko-Onathi. So that song, Bahleli Bonke Etilongweni, they are all together there in prison, and showed that we always remember throughout those years that this place was not just a figment of our imagination, but existed. Today, we are very excited, Honorable Minister McKenzie, that you sat there, you listened to this idea, but you changed it around and you said this is what is going to happen. Not just about this event that is taking place today, but about the work that is going on, and I'm sure some of you witnessed some of that as you were working through to this particular marquee. So we are excited to be able to pay tribute to you. We salute you, we honor you, we celebrate you with everyone else here, but also those that are watching throughout the country and throughout the world. About Minister Gayton McKenzie, who's the Minister of Sport, Arts and Culture, who has endeared himself into the hearts of a magnitude of South Africans, like it or not. We have a message for you, Minister McKenzie, before you come and address this august gathering. And our message is, as a department and the stakeholders, is that it takes one individual to change the world. It takes one individual to make a difference. But that individual should be bold enough to not be distracted by the trees, but keep your eyes on the forest, the bigger picture. Minister McKenzie, you came, you saw, you listened, and you conquered. This will go down in history as one of your greatest legacies. Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed guest, Mr. Gayton McKenzie.
ministers, ambassadors, ex-ambassadors, dignitaries, the Speaker of Namibia, the deputy ministers, the DGs, the sons of the soil and the liberators of Namibia and South Africa. I could keep you here all day if I were to recognize and thank all the special people in our midst here and describe to you who they are and what they've done. But I'm very proud to see our former president and deputy president, Mambaleka, here. Your presence shows us all that you care deeply. Without the position, you are still here. We love you and we thank you. This occasion will speak for itself. And this day, and the unique piece of earth where we now find ourselves, tells of the story in ways more eloquent than I ever could. Welcome also to everyone that deemed it important to be here today. But I must start with an apology, a sincere apology. I want to apologize to the freedom fighters. As a government official, I'm here to tell you that we have not treated you in the manner that you should have been treated. And I'm sorry for that. And I'm sorry for that. And they say, the only way to see if a person's apology is genuine is change behavior. And you're going to see a different government with a different behavior and treat you in the manner that you should be treated. It's a profound and humbling honor for me to stand before you today for the unveiling of some of our greatest memories as a nation going back hundreds of years. Before today, the harbor wall would greet you upon your arrival at the dock of Robben Island. It was just a wall. Perhaps it's unfair to call it that because it is the wall on the dock of Robben Island, the world's most famous former island prison. But it wasn't much more than a wall. It played a functional role in mute concrete, recognizing nothing and not being recognized. Today, it has been transformed into a piece of memory. Today, the wall speaks and it utters timeless names. Each of those names is worthy of being spoken in a memory of stone. On that wall, we have chosen to remember every person who we possibly can who was never imprisoned on this island. The walls of Robben Island were once constructed with a primary goal of swallowing human life. The people sent here were meant to be forgotten, removed, obliterated. Today, the wall that greets you as you arrive at Robben Island is there to claim the names of every life that now will never be forgotten, whose sacrifice and contribution has been engraved in permanence against the sea elements themselves, and they are not obliterated. So in turn, we can never be oblivious. You will note, ladies and gentlemen, that no names are bigger or smaller. No one is given greater or lesser prominence on the new wall of names. We believe that this is exactly the way every single one of them would have wanted it, including the name of Robben Island's most famous prisoner, the world's most famous prisoner, and perhaps the most famous man of our lifetime. His name is there amongst them, and you will see it. Many commentators have noted in different ways how cruel it must have been for the political prisoners on this island to be able to look across Table Bay, Table Mountain, and the city below it. There, right there, was the foot of Africa and the birthplace of South Africa, which was denied to them. It was so close, but forever distant and unattainable. It was the physical embodiment of the Greek punishment of Tantalus. But we also know that such a way of looking at it at the time here isn't the whole truth. Because these leaders, them seeing the face of our beautiful country every day, as they did, would have been a reminder to them that it was they suffering, fighting, and sacrificing for on this barren land. Every day they understood and they endured. There were prisoners who endured in many other prisons, and they mattered just as much. But today is a day for Robben Island and the people sent here in particular. A lot of work went into this project, but I'm sure not a single person who was involved in the work in the past weeks and months felt that it was work. No, it was a labor of love. Compatriots, today we honor the lives and memories of the people who gave up their dreams so that we can dream and so that we could end our collective nightmare. All our achievements, triumphs, and the freedom that we enjoy today to make better lives for ourselves, our children, are because the people who we are honoring today, who we are remembering today, were the ones who dreamt and made sure our dreams become true. Those of them who dreamt us into existence on the hard pillows in the cold cells of Robben Island for night after night, year after year, decade after decade. Even so, they paid the second highest price because there were many compatriots who died, who paid the ultimate price. Let us never forget them too. Let us never forget their names. Standing here, if there's anybody who wonders if the work that has gone into this was worth it, let me tell you about yesterday. While I was walking here, the Robben Island Museum Council chairperson, Professor Seth Cooper, a man who was himself imprisoned here for years, when he saw a name on the wall that he recognized, he jumped like a child. That name, he said, I could see that he was flooded with memories. When the ex-Namibian ambassador was narrating the story to me of how Namibian prisoners lived on the island and what this new addition to the museum means to him, you could see his eyes. Tears were welling up in his eyes as he was telling us. The excitement was palpable when he was telling us how Andimba, Toivo ya Toivo, and Nelson Mandela played as defenders. I never knew Nelson Mandela played football. I knew he was a boxer. Yesterday I learned he was a defender. And I asked the Namibian leader, are you sure? He said, yes. I had a grandstand seat through my window. The field was right next to my window. I am sure. Yesterday, when I gave the Namibian delegation a chance to speak, some couldn't do it. To say they were at a loss for words would be wrong. They were just overcome by emotion. It has been 30 years since the first and previous reunion of the Robben Island ex-political prisoners on this island. The first gathering was convened by our then President Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela in the storied year of 1995. Nelson Mandela, I want to say thank you to President Ramaphosa today for giving me this undeserved honor of delivering the keynote address on this occasion, on the second reunion of the Robben Island ex-prisoners. We shall be recognizing all of you. You were not just prisoners, you were soldiers. You were stoic prisoners of war. As people come into Robben Island now, every visitor will from this day on be greeted by the statues of the 6 great souls who had so much taken from them by this place and gave so much of themselves, who led our people. The first statue you will see is of Otsumato, then of Krutua, then Nelson Mandela, then Robert Subukwe, then Andimba Toivo Yatoivo, and finally, Khotso Siatulo. Allow me to tell you a little bit about this people. And I ask if I mention, when I come to the families of the last 3 or 4, if they can just rise. The first one, Otsumato was a Khoikhoi leader. You know, he learned English and he was taken to Indonesia by English ships around 1630 and became a key intermediary between the Khoikhoi and early European traders. His fluency in Dutch and English allowed him to negotiate trade in cattle, hides, and labor. But conflict over cattle brought him into war with the colonial authorities. In 1658, he was imprisoned on Robben Island along with 2 followers after a battle over cattle. While exiled, he and his followers had to hunt for their own sustenance. A year later, in 1659, he managed a daring escape in a stolen boat back to the mainland. Surprisingly, he was allowed to resume his interpreter's role. Though the relationship was soured, his influence waned and he died in 1963. He is 1663. He is believed to have been the first political prisoner on Robben Island. And today, we are honoring the first political prisoner. It is very emotional for me because the statues of Krutua and Otsumato, it kills the lie that our struggle was not multiracial and not multi-generational. As the first prisoner on Robben Island, it was very apt that we're going to unveil his statue first today. Krutua, called Eve by the Dutch, was Otsumato's niece, a Khoikhoi woman whose impact through her descendants is still felt to this day. Allow me to stop here. If I'm not mistaken, former Deputy President, your grandchild is called Krutua. Yes, but your grandchild is called Krutua. I can't tell you the joy. I was sitting last year I was sitting next to the former Deputy President, and she was, hello Krutua. I'm like, is she speaking to the dead? She was 11 or 12. She was taken into the household of Jan van Riebeeck, where she learned Dutch and Portuguese, acted as an interpreter, and served also as a mediator between the Dutch and the Khoikhoi communities. Around 1664, she married Dutch surgeon Pieter van Meerenhof, the first recorded interracial Christian marriage. In 1665, she moved with her husband to Robben Island, where she was appointed as the post holder before her husband died in 1668. After his death, Krotua's life became increasingly difficult. She struggled with dependence on alcohol, was alienated from both settler society and her own people. Her children were removed from her, and in 1969, she was formally banished to Robben Island for what the colonial authorities unjustly deemed immoral behavior. She remained there until her death in 1674. But we are here today to say she was never estranged from her own people. We are still here. The most important thing for me about her life embodies the tragedy of those caught between cultures. And it's a reminder that it is what was not just men who were banished to Robben Island. Women played a role from the start. Nelson Rolihlahla Mandela. I'm not going to waste your time to explain who Nelson Mandela is. But I'm going to show you just the visionary leadership of Nelson Mandela by a personal story that I want to share with this audience. In my area, I grew up in a colored community. When I led the first march of colored students in solidarity with black students that had no textbooks while we had textbooks. And we heard Nelson Mandela is coming out. And my mom said, don't you want to go to the shops? I said, I've got important business, I can't go to the shop. She said, where are you going? I said, I've got a surprise, I can't tell you. I went to the richest area in Bloemfontein to go and look at the nice houses there, Minister. Because Mandela was coming out, we are going to take white people's houses. So I was preparing to choose a house for my family. Because there are so many black people, I chose 3 houses just for control so that I can have a house. Great was my hurt and my disappointment when Nelson Mandela said, we will live together. I said, does this man still want me to live in this house with an outside toilet? I never forgave Nelson Mandela until I started to understand his vision. That is visionary leadership. The second issue about Nelson Mandela I wish to share about his vision. Nelson, we in the African National Congress then, we were resolute on one issue. The Springbok name should disappear. There was no contradiction. None whatsoever. Until Nelson Mandela spoke to us in the Youth League. And he said, we shall retain the name Springboks. I said to my friend, I'm starting to believe this guy is not the real Mandela. First he robbed us of our houses. Now this man does not want to give us our name. Today, I want to show you the depth of the leadership of Nelson Mandela. Nothing unites South Africa today like the very Springboks which we wanted to cancel. Mandela had the vision and the foresight. Robert Subukwe. It's very important that I mention Robert Subukwe, well-known leader, same caliber of Nelson Mandela. But something happened here at Robben Island which shall never happen again. I brought my kids here before I was a minister. Subukwe was just not a person that was visiting Robben Island. And today, if you can stand, President, this is the president of the Pan-Africanist Congress, a minister in the government of national unity. Thank you, President. I respect you. Robert Mangaliso Subukwe was born in 1924 in the dusty Karoo town of Graaff-Reinet to a modest Methodist family. He was a firebrand whose intellectual and integrity made him apartheid's most dreaded ideologue. A teacher and linguist, he founded the Pan-Africanist Congress in 1959, championing Africa for the Africans through non-violent defiance, igniting the 1960 Sharpeville massacre spark with a past-burning call that left 69 dead. Subukwe clause that allowed for the continued indefinite detention of political prisoners after their sentences ended confined Subukwe from 1963 to 1969 in isolation on Robben Island. He was placed in a remote bungalow beyond the walls and barred from all contact with other prisoners. He hardly ever saw another human being. His only companions were books and the sea's row. Released to house arrest in Kimberley, he withered from lung cancer, dying in 1978 at the young age of 53. Subukwe's isolation epitomizes the island's weaponization, a chilling testament to how the fear of just one man's ideas about Africanism amplified the echoes of resistance across generations. President of the PAC, let me apologize to you of how the PAC has been treated in the past year. It shall never happen again. Thank you. My dear friend and minister invited me to, and I'm going to talk about her now, I'm going to talk about her at the end. My dear friend and minister invited me to Namibia. Namibia, I was so impressed with what I've seen in Namibia and how they treat their fighters and how they remember them. And I met the family of Andimba Toivo Yatoivo. I met his wife. I met his daughter. And I remember his daughter said to me, it was such a spiritual thing because the guest was showing me the graves, but we haven't been to his grave, and I didn't know how to ask. And the daughter came to me, she's like, would you like to see my father's grave? I said, yes, please. And she took me to her father's grave. We took pictures, but I also heard first-hand thing. Can you take out the child? The child is crying. Can you take out the child here? He can't be listening to children crying. We're talking national issues here. Andimba Toivo Yatoivo. I want his wife to stand first. Can you stand, Mr.? Please remain standing. Your daughter, can she stand? I must share a story with the House today. I was not a political prisoner. I was the other prisoners that would sell stuff to the political prisoners. We would sell newspapers to them. You know, if you were a prisoner in those days, the joke was, hi, but these political prisoners, they are dumb. They pay us to steal newspapers for them. That was just not knowing they wanted knowledge. So general prisoners will talk about how dumb the political prisoners are. They would pay the general prison population for papers because they wanted to write books. While we were busy smuggling, they were busy planning the future of the country. So I grew up in the gang areas and gangland. So I went to Namibia. I got to Namibia, I must share the story. Now, as a person that grew up in gangsterism, people are asking for photos with me in Namibia. And now these people, the first picture I take, I see they're making gang signs. Yeah, man, at first I'm like, I'm not going to worry. But after the 10th picture, I'm like, hi. Hey, Namibia is full of gangsters. Then I met the daughter of Andimba, Toivo. And she was telling me about her studies, what she does. And she said, can I have a picture with you? I said, yes. And then she also made a gang sign. I'm like, I said, are you a gangster? She said, why? She said, I said, yes, that's the sign everybody makes. And she taught me the Namibian sign. This is the Namibian sign. It's not a gang sign. So thank you for that lesson. I was very shocked because I know Ocean. Andimba Herman Toivo was a major figure in Namibia's struggle for independence from colonial and South African rule. Born in northern Namibia in 1924, he became politically active in South Africa and Namibia. Co-founded SWAPO, the Southwest Africa People's Organization, and its predecessor organizations, fought against migrant worker abuses and the incorporation of Namibia into apartheid South Africa. Arrested in 1966 under South African law, he was tried in 1967 and sentenced to 20 years under the Terrorism Act. He served 16 years on Robben Island, much of that time in isolation, suffering much harsh treatment, but also forging deep bonds with other prisoners, including Madiba. He refused to compromise and only accepted release in 1984 when many of his comrades were set free. After release, he continued in SWAPO, leadership in exile, then came home to serve in newly independent Namibia as a minister. He passed in 2017. Robben Island is as much a part of Namibia and its national memory as it is for anyone from South Africa. People from Namibia suffered equally as people of South Africa. To the Namibians, I want to say to you, this is your home, away from your home. When I shared the news that he would be honored on the island today, few people have ever thanked me as profusely as his widow and his daughter, whom I met during the preparation work. His statue here speaks of many things, but most importantly, what it speaks the loudest about is that Namibians and South Africans are brothers and sisters. We fought together, we died together, we imprisoned together, we attained freedom together, and nothing can ever separate the Namibian and the South African people. I thank you. Khotso Siatlulo. Our final statue is of the firebrand youth leader, Khotso Siatlulo. Born in 1958 in Soweto, he attended Naledi High School during the Soweto uprising of the 16 June 1976. He was deputy president of the Soweto Student Representative Council under Tsietsi Mashinini. When Mashinini went into exile, Siatlulo took over leadership of the SSRC. He survived being shot during the protest and later fled into exile in Botswana. He made secret returns into South Africa to organize students under the banner groups such as the South African Youth Revolutionary Council. In 1981, he was arrested under the Terrorism Act and sentenced to 15 years imprisonment, most of it served on Robben Island. Released in 1990 during the political transition, he emerged in a country moving towards democracy, but he lived a relatively quiet life and died in Soweto in 2004. We must never forget how so many young lives were spent and lost in the struggle, and how the name Khotso Siatlulo, a member of the Pan-Africanist Congress of Azania, stands for the fight and the sacrifice of the youth during these difficult days and those difficult days. To all the former prisoners and the families of all the former prisoners, your great-grandchildren will know of your bravery. They will know of your sacrifice through the names on that wall and the statues that brings to life the human reality of the people who were sent here. Today, I can tell you that we have more great plans for Robben Island to make it not only one of the most visited museums in Africa, but one of the most visited museums in the world. Allow me to say something. You never wash your dirty linen in front of your guest, but there are no guests here because the Namibians are in the same house as us. When we put this together, I saw ugly scenes amongst ex-political prisoners. I saw people, Johnny-come-latelys, that called me, "Minister, I hear you are busy with this, stop it, those ones don't represent me." I said, so let the ones that represent you do for you what you want to do. Those leaders waited for months to get an interview with, a meeting with me. And today, I want the chairperson to rise. And I want Masemula and them that came to my office to rise. Can you please, thank you, Chair. Can you please rise? Where's Masemula? Yeah, I want to tell you, many people, they want to eat the cake, but they're not willing to go and look for the ingredients to bake the cake. Kubeka, where Lina Theresa. I don't look at personalities. I look at the task at hand. We have big work ahead. For 25 years, you guys have been fighting to be heard. You've been heard. The first thing you told me, when I presented my report to President Ramaphosa of having met you, he said, don't waste time. We don't have time. We don't have time. Don't waste time. We don't have time. Go and do, start with all the stuff that the veterans want and the freedom fighters. So I would love to stand here and take all the praise. But my president has given me the green light. Giving a guy like me a green light is a big mistake. I will run. So if we are not doing, you must know the president has given us the green light. And he said, we must do everything in our power to immortalize each and every one of you. And I want to thank President Ramaphosa, if we can give him a hand of applause. Before I go, let me reflect on a poem that is 150 years old this year. That poem by William Ernest Henley, called Invictus, was one that Mandela and many other prisoners used to laugh on this island. They would read it out to each other as encouragement. And the former prisoner and freedom fighter, Andrew Mlangeni, read the poem here in 2018 on Robben Island in tribute to what it meant to them. That was the occasion of Madiba's 100th birthday. I'd like the words of Invictus to be heard again on Robben Island one more time. Out of the night that covers me, black as the pit from pole to pole, I thank whatever gods may be for my unconquerable soul. In the fell clutch of circumstance, I have not winced nor cried aloud. Under the bludgeons of change, my head is bloody but unbowed. Beyond this place of wrath and tears looms but the horror of the shade. And yet the menace of the years finds and shall find me unafraid. It matters not how straight the gate, how charged with punishment the scroll. I am the master of my fate. I am the captain of my soul. Our freedom didn't fall from a tree or came with raindrops. This freedom was fought for by the people in this tent, by the people who have passed on, and many others just like them who could not join us here today. We like to talk about heroes and great men from America like Martin Luther King Jr., while in our midst we are surrounded by thousands of Martin Luther King Jr.'s. Our heroes, the people who are here, right now. We will appreciate you. We will truly appreciate our freedom more if we understand the price that has been paid for this freedom. In conclusion, I want to thank the staff of Robben Island, the staff from my department, the Namibian people, the RIM Council, the Ex-Political Prisoners Association. You know, Namibia's Minister of Education, Innovation, Youth, Sport, Art and Culture, my sister, Sanet Steenkamp. You are the kindest minister I've ever met. I wish to thank you. I wish to thank your deputy minister, Dino. He came so many times that he starts speaking like South Africans now. He even supported the South African team also as his second team. I wish to thank the ministers, the MEC, Ricardo McKenzie. I wish to thank Tamkunga. Thank you so much for making the time to come here. To the President, I want to thank all the leaders that are here. I want to thank your President for giving out a letter thanking my President and the department that I lead. That letter has made the rounds, and every time people say, "Did you see this?" I said, "No." What? They like, I said, "Send." Because I've read that letter. I want to thank your President for writing that letter. I want to thank my President for the distinctly undeserved honor of allowing me to make this speech today. Today shows that the GNU is working. We are doing what we promised we would. and we are bringing national unity to government and to our country. You know, to the political prisoners, this is from me to you. Everything that we have achieved, everything that our country has achieved, everything that our unborn children will achieve, everything that our country will still achieve, was built on your sacrifice and your courage. You are our heroes today and for generations to come. We are immensely proud and grateful to you and your families who sacrificed equally with you. Thank you for lending us those heroes to the families. We owe you a debt that can only be repaid by making the sacrifices worth it. To the media, I want to thank you and shout you. Thank you for coming today to this august thing. Many of you have asked me last year at this time, my president gave me an instruction when I became a minister, bring our heroes back. We are repatriating all the 5,000 people that lay on foreign lands. We have brought our first function the same day last year. We brought Duma Nokwe, Maria Moposo, we brought Bethel February, Tot Matikitsa, and 45 of them back. We are busy in Angola now to bring back our heroes. But the reason why I'm mentioning that, today a young journalist was asking me, how much does all of these things cost? My answer to him, I said he must come and listen during my speech. I will tell him how much all of this cost. Flying the veterans here, flying the families here, doing all those statues. I said he must come here and I will give him the answer. And before I give him the answer, I want the people that made those beautiful statues to please rise. I want us to appreciate them. Can they please rise? Can we give them a hand of applause? Thank you. And thank you. Now I'm coming to the main question. The question, and I want every person in leadership to listen to what I'm going to say to you. If you have inspirations to become a politician, I want you to listen to what I'm going to say to you. If you're already a politician, I want you to listen to what I'm going to say to you. I want the journalists to know what it costs to have this. Money can't buy. Money can't buy. You scare ministers into submission. They're scared to take a decision. But Mona, lehambile wrong. You can write about me. I don't care. This is only the beginning. We are going to honor everybody like Babo Mambaleka that was part of the struggle. This is phase 1 of phase 10. We are still coming to honor everybody. Some of these people, we will honor them more because some of us are not scared of you or what you write. And I want to say to you, thank you. May God bless you. Magwala acheche le morao. We are Ronaldo. Kirimagwala acheche. We are Rona. Tata.
Oh, Yaruna. Kwala cheche le moraho. Irima kwala cheche moraho. Ho yarona bab. Aye ho yarona. Yarona. Ho yarona. Aye ho yarona, ho yarona, ho yarona, Oh, another song. Iswapo ye Namibia, imkonto we South Africa. Quickly moya se Zimbabwe, ayaluta continua. Iswapo ya Namibia, umkonto we South Africa. Frelimo ya Mozambique. Hey, haluta continua. Polisario ya Sahara. Iplapla ya se Angola. Umkonto we South Africa. Hey, haluta continua. Umkonto we South Africa. Iplani ya Namibia. Frelimo ya se Mozambique, haluta contino. Iswapo ya South Africa, umkonto we South Africa. Ifapla ya se Angola, haluta contino. Umkonto we South Africa. Polisario ya Sahara. Fapla ya se Angola. Haluta. Wati.
Amanda! Amanda! Viva Swapo, viva! Viva Swapo, viva!
Sikumbule, siwelele, sikumbule kaya. Sikumbule, siwelele, sikumbule kaya. Ayesoge nangeshambo, nangeshambo kaya.
Thank you very much. We are going to go and give the medals. Tembi, where's Unati? Where's that young, beautiful, intellectual? Whatever.
Thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, our minister has a flight in 2 hours and 15 minutes. I can't go try leave the flight, leave the flight. When the minister says leave the flight, we leave the flight. You know, energy can't be created or destroyed. Energy can only be transferred and transformed. We speak of an energy of healing. Minister, would you like to take a seat while we have a cultural group? And then to give you some time to catch your breath. We speak of energy, and energy can be transferred and transformed. DG, the song that you were looking for earlier on was Unongqongqo by Umama Umire Makeba. Bahleli bonke etilongweni, bahleli bonke kwanongqongqo, alala, alala. So our leaders healed us through song, while our soldiers led us to freedom. Our healers healed us through song, like the likes of Mama Miriam Makeba and the likes of Mrs. Brenda Fassie when she said, our black president. To our former deputy president, Mama Wetu, thank you for your struggle. Thank you for your work. Thank you for your leadership. DG, we thank you too for being a great example. The minister speaks of healing. Botata badala bahlele koneni. Can we have your ears, please? Thank you very much. The minister speaks of healing and he speaks of different people. But allow me as well to take a moment so I can share the things that I have witnessed the ministry achieve. Within 30 days of accepting his role as the Minister of Sports, Arts and Culture, he decided to heal many families who had their family members buried in Zimbabwe. Within 30 days of his ministry, he repatriated more than 50 bodies from Zimbabwe that had been there from the struggle and brought them home to South Africa. In December, the Ministry of Sports, Arts and Culture launched a project called Fantuka Af. And I saw the minister apologize there again. It seems as if his ministry is one of apologies, but not just apologies by mouth, but rectifying the wrongs that our previous dispensation have left to be unsolved. So after he repatriated many bodies from Zimbabwe who fought for our freedom, he spoke to our musical giants and our entertainment giants. And he hosted them at a breakfast where he apologized for us, again, neglecting them and not honoring who they are. The Fantuka project solidified the future of many of our greats, Dr. John Gani, Mama Leta Mbolo, Dada Kaifa Siso, Dada Kaifa Semenya, the likes of many greats who have been abandoned by our industry. And he said, I will give you a stipend, and every month I will give you dignity, so that you no longer have to go out and beg to the South African public to remember who you are and the legacy that you have left us. Abo Mama Abigail Kubeka, Abo Mama Dorothy Masuk. I've been seeing the minister apologize through his actions, and today I saw him reach out again to the PAC to say that we will honor his neighbor from Egrafrenet, Utata Robert Mangaliso Subukwe. So to the ministry, thank you for healing all of us. Thank you for seeing all of us. And thank you for making sure that in your endeavor, the legacy and the dignity of our people will always be remembered. We speak of song as a healing energy. We speak of song as a way to narrate our stories and to continue our history through harmonies. The one thing we do well as Africans is create music. It was in 1995 that Utatu Mandela stood here in Cape Town and told the world, before we won our very first of our 4 world titles from our Springboks, that sports and music are universal languages and they shall unify the world. So in that voice of unison, please put your hands together for the Western Choral Choir all the way from Ekayeli Cha.